I want to go ahead and bring on my first guest to talk more about this and the upcoming special session called by the governor, Representative Tom Gann. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning, Jake.
Man, it's so good to have you this morning. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. Well, things good out in eastern Oklahoma. Y'all getting any rain this morning?
It's really cloudy right now, but all I know of is it's raining down south.
Okay, yeah. It's welcome in the state, man. We've been so dry, but it's welcome. Something that is refreshing to the land, as is tax reform. So I was glad to see Governor call for this special session. You know, like I said, he really pushed this in his State of Address when he was reelected, but it seemed like it fell flat during session. Nothing really was accomplished. What do you think about this recent call by the governor?
I'm excited about it. I think it's time that we do deal with taxes here in the state of Oklahoma, and I welcome the call. I wouldn't mind going in special session when we're able, or we're considering taxpayers first to return money that we don't need back to the taxpayer, and then decreasing the tax burden on them. I'm for that at any time. Absolutely.
Now, you know, Governor, like I said, in the State of the State, I'm going to play a couple of clips here from what he said, and I believe he still maintains this position, but he started off talking about the grocery tax. So here's a clip from the State of the State address.
We took care of the 300,000 working families being hit the hardest by increasing the earned income tax credit. We can and we should do more for Oklahoma families. That's why I'm proposing to eliminate the grocery tax.
So I think it's pretty well received across the state, don't you think?
Yes, I think it is, and it would put us on par with our state below us, Texas. And during the regular session, the House did pass some measures across to the Senate that dealt with tax reduction, yet we really didn't deal with them with the fervor that we dealt with the tax credits for school choice.
Right.
And I would like to see us get behind some of these calls that the governor's made, the grocery tax, the income tax, with the same type of energy and commitment to get it done as we were with school choice.
No doubt. I mean, obviously, we're seeing gas prices rise. I filled up yesterday, and man, it was, I forget exactly what it was, but it was definitely over $4 a gallon. And, that's pretty common across the state right now. And so it makes an impact on people's pockets. And so any kind of relief is welcome. This is a clip I want to play again from the State of the State address. You mentioned the state income tax, and this is one of the things he addressed in the State of the State address.
States across the country are continuing to cut taxes on their citizens. 9 states don't charge a personal income tax. Many others are racing to join them. We can't be left behind. My vision is to create a taxpayer protection plan that responsibly lowers income taxes according to our state revenue. Cutting taxes based on how our economy grows ensures we'll always have money to pay for core services like education and roads and bridges. And as our economy grows, Oklahomans share in our success by keeping more of their hard-earned money. I look forward to working with the legislature to modernize our tax code this session. Another way to...
So that was, again, the State of the State address, and, it was the call to modernize the tax code. Like you said, there were some reforms that did pass out of the House, didn't make it through the Senate. He mentioned the state budget, obviously eliminating the state income tax. I believe Pro Tem Treat came out and made a statement yesterday saying that it would be a $4 billion impact on the state, and the governor would have to have an answer to that about how to make up those funds. What do you think about that impact to the state, and what the response should be?
Well, according to the Pro Tem, Senator Treat, he asked several questions that he felt like the governor needed to ask before the Appropriations Committee. He wanted to have him come in, but I would turn it around and ask the Pro Tem, how much money does the state accumulate before we start talking about tax decrease?
Right.
We're sitting on billions of dollars. And if we're not going to, as a constituent of mine said to me, is if you're not going to pave roads with it, give it back to us.
Yeah.
these are dollars that, if they're injected back into our local economy, it will produce more tax revenue. We've seen that over and over. That example worked with the Kennedy tax cuts back in the 60s, Reagan tax cuts back in the 80s. It works, and I am all for taking that money and giving it back to the taxpayer in some form or fashion. But I think we have to cap our budget. We just can't spend ourselves into oblivion just because we have these huge fund balances.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I don't think the sign of a successful state is having billions in the coffers. No. Because that means billions are taken out of the pockets of the people.
Yes, and just last week, Governor Huckabee in Arkansas proposed her tax decrease plan. She has called her legislature back into a special session to deal with tax decreases, and that's what I think. When you have these huge surpluses, government shouldn't be the first priority. And the first priority shouldn't be to grow government, which has been the case here since I've been in the legislature. It ought to be to minimize the effect of government on people and put more money in their pocket so they can direct their lives through how they want to. Yeah. The call that the governor made, his second point, was to put Oklahoma on a path to zero income tax. And I think that is the correct path to get to. And yet with these huge fund balances, this huge savings we have, it's an optimum time to do that because it allows us to get to a zero, but utilize maybe these fund balances to fill any hole as we gradually decrease the tax rate to zero. But it cannot come without some sort of cap on our spending. And that's why in this special session that happened in July, I filed HJR 1001, who is it's also co-authored by Rick West out of LaFleur County, that it would cap spending and cap savings, and then there would be an automatic refund to a taxpayer relief fund is what it's called, that would distribute the monies, first of all, based upon anybody who filed income tax, but then the distribution can be changed at a later date. I think if the people don't tie the hands of the legislature is not going to be able to discipline themselves in order to cap spending. And that's the key here. It's never what you make, it's always what you spend. And I think we need to have a constitutional question put before the people for them to cap spending and cap savings and then have it automatic. And I just think that's the route to go.
I would agree. I think that's a genius plan. How was that?
Well, it's been done.
Go ahead.
It's done in other states.
Okay. How was that received? How was that received in this last special session when that was proposed?
Oh, it got a first and second hearing, but the special session kind of morphed from budgetary issues, which is why I filed the bill, into the tribal compact issue, right, which had nothing to do with the call, and that's a whole other issue that we've talked about before. But I'm hoping that we can at least get some dialogue and some discussion about it. To just shut it down and not discuss it, to me, is a disservice to the Oklahoma taxpayer. Oh, but I think what's also driving this, Jake, is the court before the Oklahoma Supreme Court, where this Strobel case, where the tribal member said to pay income tax.
Right.
If the court rules in her favor, that is going to have a huge impact on this state, because it's going to be based upon a person's race, that they don't have to pay income tax. And that's just not who we are as a nation, and we've come a long ways in race relations, and you just can't segregate somebody out based upon their race from paying income taxes. So the other proposal that the governor wanted was a trigger law that if the courts ruled in favor of Strobel, that would trigger zero income taxes for the rest of the state. And I think that's a wise move. I think we have to probably have that in place if that decision is made, because you can't have it any other way. It has to be for all or none.
Absolutely.
And so I think that might be a wise move for us to take.
No, I like it. Yeah, for sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then the last part of the call from the governor, and these are very specific things that we that we really need to address is transparency. Oftentimes, we ask about the budget, and we're told, well, go see so-and-so, and he can tell you what we've already decided. And the budget process is not transparent down at the House. They will tell you that it is, but we just get summary information on what's been decided. We don't get line items. We'd like to see it expanded. We'd like to have more eyes on the budget to make better decisions. And right now, we're not afforded that. For the past two sessions, I have asked for additional funding for the Ethics Commission and the State Auditor, and can't get past the subcommittee on appropriations in that. They just won't go anywhere.
Wow.
And we need to fund the proper areas of government that provide accountability and transparency to the state. And if the pro tem wants to know what we could cut first, I say let's cut Senate and House salaries. I mean, come on, we need to have some real discussions here instead of political rhetoric, and we need to get down to the brass tacks and give the taxpayers some relief out here. With an 8% inflation rate, it's just amazing. I don't know how people are living right now, and the time is now.
Absolutely. I sense the urgency behind this call is definitely urgent and critical time. Representative Gann, I so appreciate your time this morning and your positions and your fight for the people as always. So look forward to having you on next time.
Thank you, Jake. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I appreciate 96.9 and Freedom Radio.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. All right, it's Representative Tom Gann, and talking about this tax reform, this call for a special session by the governor. Great insight, I believe, the right conservative perspective, saying, hey, let's put the money back in the pockets of the people.